Donald Trump made a mega deal with Japan today, which has already made China and Xi Jinping nervous. Trump signed an agreement with Japan on access to rare earth metals, which is far from the first such agreement. Earlier, Trump signed similar agreements with Australia, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, Pakistan, and even Ukraine. This will help the United States reduce its dependence on China, but it's just the start. United States Secretary of Commerce Scott Bessent announced today that Japanese companies have made investment commitments in the fields of energy, nuclear industry, and semiconductor manufacturing, and have signed agreements totaling $490 billion. In addition, Donald Trump seems to have established an excellent relationship with the new Prime Minister of Japan, who has already stated that she will nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. But that's not the most important thing. The thing is, the new Prime Minister of Japan is very militaristic. She supports the idea of allocating 2% of the gross domestic product to defense. She says that Japan needs to abandon pacifism and finally move towards a militaristic path, which has really scared China. In China, people say to remember your history and consider this. And the Japanese are saying now we're going to restore order in the South Pacific region together with the Americans. Trump also addressed American military personnel in Japan today, highlighting military cooperation between the two countries. And against this backdrop, Xi Jinping hopes that he will be able, on the contrary, to pull Donald Trump away from supporting Taiwan in exchange for easing the trade war. Today, we will be figuring all of this out. My name is Alexei Pesci. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start this episode, I ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, give it a like, and write a detailed comment under this episode. This really boosts the video on YouTube. Subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pitchy News. The link to it is in the description of this video. There we post breaking news as it comes in. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so with any donation or by becoming a sponsor or subscribing to a paid membership. You can do all of this using the links and details in the description of this video. It says there, support the Alexei Pesci channel. Choose any format that is convenient for you. I will be grateful for your support. So, I'll start with how highly Donald Trump spoke about the new Prime Minister of Japan. During his visit to Tokyo, United States President Donald Trump praised Sanae Takaichi, the first female Prime Minister of Japan, as an important figure. Next is a quote. I have tremendous respect for Japan and this country, and now I have even more respect for the new and incredible Prime Minister. I have to say, this woman, these will be relations that are stronger than ever before. If Japan needs any services, the United States will be there. This woman is a winner. Well, Donald Trump's affection for Takaichi is not accidental. The fact is, Takaichi has long advocated for increasing Japan's defense spending to 2% of gross domestic product and for revising the pacifist constitution. She advocates for amending Article 9 to recognize Japan's self-defense forces as national defense forces and accordingly to expand their capabilities for more active participation in military operations. And these steps are very much in line with the hardline stance of Donald Trump himself. Takaichi has already said Japan will work with the United States to firmly promote the idea of a free and open Indo-Pacific region. But how can this be achieved? And this is where Takaichi made it clear that Japan is no longer a pacifist country, and it will shift to a military footing. Speaking to American servicemen aboard the aircraft carrier George Washington at the Yokosuka Naval Base, Takaichi stated, quote, our region is facing an unprecedented security situation. Japan and the United States will join forces to ensure peace and security in this region. Peace cannot be maintained by words alone. It can only be protected by unwavering determination and action. Both countries aim to strengthen their show of force in the region to counter growing threats from China. Japan aims to greatly boost its defense and is prepared to play a more active role in regional peace and stability. Thanks to these efforts, together with President Trump, I am determined to elevate the Japan-United States alliance, which has already become the greatest alliance in the world, to even greater heights. End of quote. It is important to note that China has already expressed concern and stated that Japan should remember its history, their past wars, and, in general, not rattle their sabers. They will quote China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs representative Guo Jiakun, We urge Japan to sincerely respect the security interests of its neighbors, deeply reflect on the history of its aggression, adhere to the path of peaceful development, and earn the trust of its Asian neighbors and the international community through concrete actions. Explanations about where this is leading are unnecessary here, but that's not all. A week after President Donald Trump signed an agreement with Australia on the supply of rare earth metals, today he signed a similar agreement with Japan. The goal is to create a counterbalance to China's monopoly on critical minerals that supply electronics, military equipment, and technology around the world. Although experts here add a note of pessimism. They claim Trump's statement means America, aided by these deals with allies, will have plenty of needed minerals within a year. Is a fantasy. China controls more than 90% of the world's production of refined rare earth metals. Its almost monopolistic position has become one of the most powerful tools in the trade war with the United States. Although rare earth metals are a group of 17 elements, they are actually more common than gold. The relatively high cost and environmental damage associated with their processing and refining have led China to a dominant position in their production worldwide. And Trump is right in claiming that China's dominance in minerals poses a national security threat to the entire West. And just last week, Goldman Sachs estimated that a disruption of just 10% in production in industries dependent on these resources could lead to a loss of $150 billion in the United States economy. However, experts doubt that all these rare earth metal deals, which Trump is now signing one after another, will ensure the much-needed rapid restoration of critical mineral supplies to America. Experts assure that it will take at least a few more years to create the necessary production capacity for refining these metals. Because the United States and its allies will have to build the industry from scratch, completely from scratch. But Trump is absolutely determined. And here's the cherry on top. This is an investment deal worth almost $500 billion from Japan. United States Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, by the way, sorry, I think I called him Scott Bessent at the beginning. Scott Bessent is actually the Secretary of the Treasury. Anyway, United States Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick announced $490 billion in investments in the United States from several Japanese companies in the fields of nuclear energy development, engineering and construction services, semiconductors, and artificial intelligence infrastructure. And companies ready to invest their money in the United States include Westinghouse, GE Vernova, Bechtel, SoftBank, Toshiba, ENTRA1, Carrier Corporation, Kinder Morgan, Mitsubishi Electronics, TDK, Fujikura, Murata Manufacturing, and even Hitachi. And at the end of the deal signings, Trump announced that Toyota is also ready to invest in the United States. Quote, "We just learned that Toyota is going to allocate $10 billion. I think this is because of the November 5th elections and the tariffs. We have another company that's going to invest at least $10 billion, and I'll tell you its name a little later." In general, that was it. Trump's trip to Japan was quite successful. As you can see, there are investments and there's an agreement on rare earth metals. But what's even more important is that the new Prime Minister of Japan is quite militaristic. And she is ready to move Japan out of this pacifist position and really make Japan a center of opposition to China in this region. Trump, I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.